Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is VlogsBoutNothin. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy night to join me. I really appreciate that. I hope that you're just wrapping up your work day or day of doing nothing, and now it's just time to chill. You feel me? Go on down some rabbit holes, make life interesting. You definitely are attempting to, right? Because you're watching the channel, and I definitely do try to keep things interesting. And so much so that I had somebody tell me today that I'm not ever sick. I'm just old. Okay, so that's kind of like, my message to everyone too, right? Is that I'm not ever sick. I'm just old. So I have the privilege of like sidebar Avi, but knowing somebody that is close to being 100 years old, and let me tell you, this woman just I am rooting for her to get that letter from the president, and good thing for her, she's going to get a letter from a sitting president that isn't Donald Trump. So that's really cool for her. Man, I'm rooting for this lady to get to 100 years old. She's like 94. I'm just like, man, please, please, if there's like anything good in the universe, let this woman live to be past 100, so that like that's just a remarkable thing, right? And Avi, when you turn 100 here in America, Uncle Sam sends you some gifts. I think, hey, that's cool. It's like, hey, you've been a tax-paying citizen. You've been on the books for 100 years. This is the least that we can do for you. You guys remember that story of the Burger King guy who never ever missed a day of work for like 30 years, and Burger King gave him like a $20 gift card or something. Nonetheless, that story actually ended up in a really, really good, grace because I don't know, it's in a secular sense, but because Avi he made like a somebody made a Kickstart campaign for him. I think the guy made close to $500,000. Good for him. Obviously, taxes, fees, everything belongs to Uncle Sam. It's important to note that, like, it doesn't matter if it's capitalism, communism, you know, um, whatever, Uncle Sam will always own everything. So it's would be quite American to just slap a different kind of a label on something and to move forward. But if this country, as I know it will be around in hundreds of years to come, that's kind of what we do here. We've been inspired from colonialism as well as sort of the modern day thought of equality and being decent to people on the opposite end of that spectrum, right? I'm a social capitalist, registered independent, not very much looking forward to electing another 4 years of this. Anyways, tonight we're talking about attitudes. And so I jumped on, obviously, I always try to have a good attitude. Attitudes are important. It's something we've talked about, we continue to talk about on the channel. There's been times over the course of the last few months in the 500 videos. I stream 4 times a day. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. Also, there's an active Patreon account which can be found anywhere the internet is, and I think that's kind of cool. So definitely, I'm gonna solicit a little bit more now, I guess, so that at some point in my life I can actually make a little bit of money doing something. And regardless, attitude's important, okay? And I bring all of that stuff up because we definitely have talked about attitude, and you guys have seen me really happy. You guys have seen me cry. You guys have seen me upset. You've seen me be a normal human being. Let me remind you that the program is never scripted. I mean, please don't consider this, three sort of like literal words that I write down to help me remember what I'm going to talk about as anything close to a script. Seriously. And sometimes we don't even do that. Sometimes we, go off improv and just do these crazy sidebars, kind of like we're doing now. But I always try to bring it back to what we talked about, from the beginning of each video. And so attitude is detrimental to like all of what success can be achieved. And I'm a firm believer in that. Attitude is first impressions. Attitude is how you feel about somebody, or how that person makes you feel, or how a culture makes you vibe, or how a group of people make you act. I mean, something that can remain constant is your unrelenting sort of you know, dismay to the world, in that your attitude is something you can control. You can actually, this is something that you can actually control. And by that, I mean bad things happen all of the time. We live in a world that is currently on fire, and all that we can do is try to put out that fire, save as many people that we can from that very, very dangerous situation, but never ever losing hope. And not hope in a sense of, well, I guess it can't anything be more than just kind of this abstract idea, but it's that very abstract idea that is counter to why the world isn't legit on fire. There are people in this world who work relentlessly to have the kind of attitude that is needed in order to combat corruption, and overall have a sense of, you know, dignified existence. As it is, like, it's kind of tough, especially being so aware of a world that's so in like adequate for everyone, and it need not be. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about that stuff. So, moreover, it's really important to have a good attitude. It is really important to have a good attitude. First impressions are translations of how we perceive other people to be and their attitude. So it's, again, the most important thing that you can do, that you can control, that you can have really any sort of say so as it concerns what you put out into the perception of others. I mean, people pick up on bad stuff just as much as they pick up on good energy, which is why it's important to have a good attitude. Like, I don't, there's enough drama. You feel me? There's enough conflict. There's enough people that like legit get off on that kind of thing. Like, honestly, like, that's weird, because like most of us are just trying to get by and not be like really, really mean to each other in the process, because you don't need to be really mean to anybody to have a good attitude. And all it takes is just kind of a number of things. Some confidence in your sort of being. It takes a reminder of, your ability to get this confidence, which is something I'm trying to remind you of now. This is Vlogs About Nothing. I find there to be, unlike the early 2000s book 4 Hour Work Week, which ironically, although being highly just completely intangible as it goes for like an actual reading source, but the 4 Hour Work Week is absolutely right in one thing. And that one thing is enjoying the things that you can, while really trying to suppress the things that make us sad, that diminish our attitude. You feel me? And so, like, it's important. Have a good attitude. I understand that that's hard to do. I get that. I do. All of us every single day deal with different kinds of things that we deal with. Some of us more than others. And it's not a comparison amongst one another, because we would legit get nothing done. Kind of like how the world is now, legit getting nothing done. So have a good attitude. You know what I mean? Like, again, being alive is a vibe. You know, call it what you will. Like, it is what it is. I mean, so make the best of it. And while making the best of it is enjoying the best kind of life that you can, don't forget about the other people around you. You know, at the very least, if you don't want to give anybody anything, at least provide us with a good attitude. Because legit, that's all that you really need to give to people if you're getting down to that kind of low bar as it concerns others' expectations. You know, real talk. So I hope that you guys have a really good night. Thank you for watching my channel. I see all the new subs, all the new viewers every single day. Again, I encourage you to check out my Patreon. I think there's two memberships, one $5 one and one $10 one. So, you know, this is going to go down. This is going to happen. And I look forward to meeting all of the people that I'm going to meet doing this, you know, especially at the beginning here, right? Because, well, you know, it's just, it is what it is. So I'm going to have a good attitude about it. And again, I really hope that you guys check some of that stuff out now that I'm able to say this, you know, and it's the page is published. It's not anything spectacular at all, kind of like this show. But nonetheless, it's still making an effort. I feel like it's still getting better, at least in theory and from practice. I'm thinking that we're getting there. So I hope that you have a really good night, and thanks again for watching. Bye.